After more than 3 decades and more than 100 movies, the South Australian Film Corporation is preparing to close its Hendon headquarters and move to new studios at Glenside. Fittingly, the last film being shot at Hendon is by a noted local director and features one of the state's most popular young actors who, just incidentally, is on the comeback from a stroke that nearly killed her. Matthew Smith has this report.
Venture inside the Film Corporation's Hendon headquarters and the word modesty comes to mind. The heart of the state's filmmaking is a very basic mix of offices and studios, a setup that's hardly changed since the corporation moved there from Norwood in 1980. While staff are getting ready to leave the outdated facility, Rolf de Heer has been filming at Hendon for his latest movie, The King is Dead.
And action.
We've come to kill your king.
De Heer shifted to South Australia after being impressed when shooting a movie at Hendon in 1987.
I always found the facility here to be this terrific integrated filmmaking facility for small or low-budget films, and that's what I tend to like to do, and so it suits me enormously.
De Heer has shot at least 6 films at Hendon and used its post-production facilities on 11. Fond of it, sure, but he knows it's time to move.
Look, there are times when the height of the studios has been an issue. I've tended to be able to work around it, but it's a really question of working around it. For some people, the studios aren't quite big enough.
What will be big enough are the new $42 million studios at Glenside, now just months away from opening. Without them, Film Corporation Chief Executive Richard Harris says South Australia's slice of the movie-making national pie would shrink.
Our stages have always been relatively limited, so the ability to attract production has always been pretty constrained. And it's been getting harder in recent years when there's actually been studios built in other parts of the country, and bigger studios.
Mike Rowan was part of the original move to Hendon and would treasure memories of his time in Adelaide's West, among them the extensive sets built behind the Film Corporation for the movie Playing Beatty Bow in the mid-80s.
That was a complete part of Sydney, a complete village. 3 streets, 3 roads, all the houses, all made of, timber framing and plasterboard and painted.
But nostalgia isn't clouding his vision.
It's had its day, this place, and what is being developed at Glenside is streets ahead of this.
There's not a lot of sadness, they're just excited about moving. I think for many people it's a bit like an old, much-loved car that they've bashed around the bush for a long time, but has wheels falling off and mirrors falling off.
While an October Glenside opening seems a long way off, he says there has already been serious interest from TV producers, with the less glamorous small-screen shoots a longer-term money spinner.
And action.
Back on set of The King is Dead, but this time on location in a street in West Croydon, and the glittering career of a much-loved actress is being reborn. Michaela Cantwell mightn't be the star, but for her that isn't the point. The offer of a part in the movie came as the 39-year-old was recovering from a stroke that nearly killed her. Remembering that day brings up the emotion that is always close to the surface.
I was at Hampstead at the time, and my agent came in at 8:30 in the morning. I thought, this is weird. Nice one to visit, but it's very early. And he gave me a script and said, Prof, you would like me to be in this film. Oh.
I mean, your first role.
Yes.
What was your initial reaction?
Yeah.
Michaela had the acting world at her feet before the stroke.
I'm not signing it.
Everybody's trying to prenup these days.
You think I'm a gold digger?
From movie parts to hosting a TV wine show, the roles were many and varied and reflected an actor in her prime. But her first love has always been the stage.
If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand.
Romeo and Juliet was her last role, and it was while celebrating with cast members that she collapsed in August last year. If she'd been alone, she may have died.
10, 11,
She's now working relentlessly to rebuild her life. It began with learning to walk again, then moving back to her North Adelaide flat, with driving another priority. As with all stroke victims, it's a long road back to normal. How much further do you think?
A long way to go. Years to go. Forever to go, I think.
To add to her own obvious drive, she has plenty of supporters in her corner. Rolf de Heer is one, but he didn't give her the movie role out of sympathy.
She's an actress who is a particular character, and she makes that character her own, and that's what you need.
While the movie job was an unexpected boost, well ahead of her doctor's timelines, the most important goal remains.
I want to get back to theatre acting.
So what do you need to do to realise that?
Get a job.
But the theatre is a totally different stage, with the live spotlight and audience, an unforgiving arena.
Michaela is absolutely confident that there will be a career, and she places herself in situations to bring that about.
All we can do is be optimistic and supportive, and offer whatever support we can at the company and as friends, in the hope that she will be back on stage, because she's so brilliant and has left a big hole in casting temporarily. So what we want is her to restage as full a recovery as she can, so she can get back on the boards, because the audiences miss her and we miss her.
Good on her. Matthew Smith reporting there.